You could also, this is a first, there's a button here called Undo Go, which we've been asked for about 20 years. Can you undo Go? So if you're doing something and you've done loads of setup and you recall a scene and then wipe off all your settings by mistake, you can now do an undo. So there's not many desks you can do that with, actually. So that's the undo button, allows you to get out of jail. On top of that, then you have recall filters. These are the kind of filters which allow you to, per scene, decide what gets recalled. So everything gets stored, but you decide per scene whether it's a processing of a whole channel, and you can allow it to be blocked or allowed, or per item itself. You can do it singly, or use the radio buttons at the top to block everything. So that will block all the routing, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty comprehensive set of filters per scene. On top of that, you have the global scene safes, which allow you to isolate a channel or a processing section to be isolated from any changes in scene recall. So you've got scene safes, global, and then individual filters. There's a queue list. Queue list allows you to create like a playlist of scenes. You've got 500 scenes available, but you may only have 20 that you need to worry about, and you can drag those in. So out of the 500, you will drag in all the scenes to make a current queue list, and that's what you use. So you may sometimes repeat a scene, whatever, so you can copy and paste and whatever, and have the same scene repeated a few times in the scene list. And there's a couple of new things we've never done before in this desk. Scene manager, close. We have embedded recall. Embedded recall allows you to, in one scene, then have another scene stored, which allows you to bring in something else, also with a delay time. So you can have, say, scene 1 and then recall scene 10 3 seconds later, which so you can do quite complicated multiple scene stuff. And that can also be in one surface or in another system too. Excuse me, that's the microphone. You can also do update of scenes in a range. You can do a starting scene and an ending scene. So once you've done everything and then you think someone needs to change the guitar and you change the EQ, then you can go into scenes and decide from scene 6 to scene 12. Then you can actually decide to update just that range of scenes with just those parameters. So we have quite a scope now of updates in scenes, which we'd not done before as well. So pretty comprehensive scene manager, which has got some features which are very, very new. Next screen is ganging. Ganging allows you to take channels and combine them together. So at the moment, if you've got a couple of channels which are independent, they're not stereo, but they're 2 mono channels like this, and you want them to be a stereo because there's going to be a keyboard or something, say that's channel 47 and 48, then you just go to a group, pick a ganging group here, go to inputs, at the top, find 47, 48, 47 and 48. You can choose what you want to be ganged, like faders, mutes. You may even do the EQ. So those 3 things, press apply, and now when you move these faders, you can see they're linked. If you hit the mute buttons are linked. And the EQ will also work on one side and the other simultaneously. So that's a ganged group. And you can do that 16 times. And what can be really handy sometimes if you don't want to make it a stereo channel is you just use one fader and then you hide this fader, the second fader, in a different layer. So you can get to it later on, maybe have a separate gain or a separate EQ, but basically you can operate that one fader as if it's a stereo instrument or multiple instruments. The button called Mix Rack brings up the config page, which we had before. That allows you to do all the mixing configurations. It allows you to create stereo channels. It also has your network addressing stuff. user profiles, where you can create users with and without passwords. So if you want someone to be locked out of the desk and you don't want anyone to touch it, then you set a password and you're the administrator. You can create users and stuff. All that will appear in that place there. That's the config side. On the audio side, you can basically bring up the audio cards, choose the sync, whether it's internal sync or locking to one of the Dante cards, that sort of thing. You can set up the talkback, which mixes and things will get assigned to which outputs. Sorry, the talkback. And the settings, then you can choose where the source is, which mic it is. You've got a high-pass filter, preamp control, whether it's latching or not, and whether it dims the PFL. So comprehensive talkback stuff. Signal generator is there. The settings there. You can have pink noise. You can have bandpass, sine, all the basic stuff there, and then you can assign it to the different channels. So there's the SIG generator, typical stuff there. So that's all the stuff on the mix rack page. Surface allows you to do the control, which you've already seen, dragging and dropping, the names and coloring. Soft keys, these are all the soft keys here, all the way down the side of the mixer. Lots and lots of soft keys. People ask for those, especially monitor guys, because they like to do all these being inputs, and then they just want to hit button 1, and that's the send to, say, the drummer. And then you can bring up, you can make that key bring up a send. So soft keys are up here. You highlight a soft key. There's a drop-down list. And then you can do select, mix, PFL, and a scene recall. That's quite powerful because it means when you hit that button, it can recall a scene which can do other stuff as well as just the layouts. So a pretty comprehensive list of stuff that you can do with that. You can have tap tempos if you want the effects to be controlled by buttons. You can do that as well. Clearing the PFL, scene recalls, anything. So big list of stuff which you can do on all those soft keys, and you've got 26 of them. So plenty of it. Surface preferences. This is where you set up the rotaries. So these, remember these buttons here allow you to do different things. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the rotaries here. So if you hit number 1, there, custom rotary number 1 on the screen. That's it. Send level. We're going to call it a send. It's going to be effects send number 4, 5, apply. So basically, that's done now. So basically, that one there will always send to effects 5 when it's on this number 1 position. You can do show the values on the LCDs with that button there, show parameter values. When you press that, it means that when you're adjusting channels and faders, you will see in the window of the channel the actual dB value. You may not pick that up on the camera, that's fair enough. So when I'm changing this fader, it's telling me how many dBs of change I've got when that's on there. And then a button called layer link. If you press layer link, it means you can link things together. So if you want to link bank 2 and 3, when we change layers here, it's now changing across all those faders together. So you can change the whole section, leaving this one independent. Or you can link all 3 if you want. So when I press that one, when I go for the layers now, every single fader across the mixer is changing. So that could be all inputs if you wanted to see everything in one view like that and change the whole mixing surface. So you get to see how that responds. And then on there as well, we have the dimmer controls, remember, so we can make the desk do nice, colorful stuff and change its outlook. Change the brightness of things there. On the audio page, you've got all these settings for things like, this is very, very useful. For example, you can do additive mode or single modes. If you have additive mode, when you press PFLs, they can add up. So you can listen to multiple things at once and then clear them with that button. Or you can do replace mode, which is not additive. And so each time you press something, it replaces the next one. Then you can do something like select follows PFL and mix follows mix PFL. So this time, when you press that key, as you can see, the select key will follow, and the mix follows input PFL. And now when you press it, all I need to do is, if I'm running monitors and I go to my auxiliaries, if I press PFL, I'm going to hear in my headphones, or I'm going to hear on the wedge. If I press the graphic EQ immediately comes up for that mix, because I'm on that mix. All my fader levels are here to that mix, unless I press Sends button. So joining those 3 buttons together is a very powerful thing. It means that you can quickly go through mixes, hear them, see them. All the processing comes up on the screen because you've got everything there, like graphic EQs. Everything becomes available at a touch of a button. And it's bringing up 3 things at once. Of course, you can independently change select, independently change mix, but as soon as you hit PFL, there they go. So that's a good trick. You can also do things on screen like set up the delay time for the headphones. If you're 20, 30, 40 meters away from the stage, then you're going to get a delay, so you can dial in the delay on the headphones, PFL trim. You can set up a mini mixer for the balance of left and right and stuff in the headphones when you're not selecting. And also a nice button here called External Talk to PFL. So when you've got a wedge or ears and you're doing a job, if you can set this up, you can set up a tie line over Dante or Giga Ace to the front of house, and they can talk to you in your headphones whilst you're doing stuff. You can also turn them off as well, which is really good. But it allows you to do communication systems into the talkback system. So that's the kind of PFL page, which is pretty comprehensive. You've also got USB audio, the transport, so you can put a USB key in there, press play, press record, look what's on the list, select a channel for playback, assign where you want it to come back, where it's routed to, so you can do it from here or you can do it from the routing screens. So pretty comprehensive routing stuff for audio, and again, sync. So that's pretty much it. And the screen output, that is one I've been using to flip. At the moment, this VGA monitor is following the right-hand screen. We can have it following the left-hand screen. And in future, we're going to have it a 3rd screen, which could maybe do spectral analysis or custom meter pages or whatever you want to do. So that's that screen. Finally, on the utility stuff, this is where you have diagnostics. So at the moment, we have a log showing everything going on inside the mixer, what's been happening as we've been doing stuff. If there's any problems, that can be saved to a USB key and sent to your distributor or our support if you need some help. We have the memory page where you can do all the saving stuff. So once we've done all this setup here and we've saved all our scenes and brought up all our effects, to save a show, it's very simple. Just press Store Show, give it a name, apply, and that's it. It's now been stored. Everything's done. All that information is now stored on the left-hand side, and it's on the desk. If we want to save that on a key, simply plug a key into there and then transfer it across, either copy it or move it onto a USB key, and the same thing in reverse. Same thing for Library Manager. If you want to create any library items of EQ, effects, all those sort of things, you save those, and you can either have them here on the mixer or stored on a key. So that's the kind of USB and memories area of the desk. Utility also has things like date and time, setting the firmware updates, or anything new that comes with the desk. You will go to a website and say, "Hi guys, thanks for buying a desk. If you're interested, you got some new effects. Go put USB in the computer, download the firmware, put it in that slot, press update, and then you get the new effects." Simple as that. And it takes, whole process can be as quick as 2 minutes done, end of. And on the control page, you've got things like MIDI controls, so you can use this to control an external MIDI device. And that's just about it. Just apart from that new screen, the routing screen, which we saw before, if the routing screen's on, it follows the select key, so you can see from any one channel what's going on to a different mix. So if we have mix there, and that's input 1, there's the level, and then we bring up the sends, you can see, there they go. That's bringing up all the sends from that one channel. We can make those pre and post fade by using the green keys there. So if the purple, they are post, using that one. Remember, if you want to make them globally, you can hit assign and the master, and they will all go pre, all go post. You can also do them individually on the buttons here, pre and post for different sends for the mixes. So these are now nice, clear routing screen, which allows you to see exactly what's going on from either the channel perspective or from a mix perspective. So if we hit AUX1 mix, then we can see all the different inputs there being mixed to